Hi everyone, this is John Cawley at Plant-Based Life, here to do a quick video to talk about self-care. It seems to be a topic that a lot of people are talking about at the moment and are, having their opinions on and approaching and giving out a lot of very useful information for people, to take some time to look after yourself. Now, obviously, it's very important in your lifetime or in your life, in your day-to-day activities, that you help others as much as possible, right? Now that's something that everyone should adhere to do. So whenever you get the opportunity, you should help others as much as you can. And when I say others, I mean other people close to you, your family members, even strangers to a degree, help someone in need, help someone, just always be available to help others. And that's very good for your own emotional, mental health and well-being, and also for the people you're helping, obviously, right? So, and if you do a job that involves helping people on many levels, that's extremely rewarding. But that's not what the subject of this video is about per se. I mean, obviously there's parts of that element in it, but one very important thing, it's very hard to help people if you are an empty vessel, if you're an empty well yourself, if you're so worn out and exhausted and tired, right? It's very hard to then give and be empathetic to others when you yourself are completely, you've just had enough, you're just completely exhausted, right? So, and that exhaustion can be many factors. It can be mental, emotional issues, it can be physical exhaustion, it can be stress about family life, financial commitments, work, life balance, whatever it could be, health conditions that are getting you down, could be anything, right? Loved ones that are going through traumatic times, whatever, there's many reasons why a person could be at a low point or not at their optimum best, and they're not always the best times to be helping others, but you'll find with people who are empaths, people who are very empathetic, they, who really take on other people's thoughts, emotions, feelings, they will continue to give and give, even when they're an empty well, an empty vessel. And this is something you've got to try to avoid, because it will come back, in other ways, and it will have a negative impact on your life. So how do you start implementing self-care in your life? It's very important for everyone to do this. Simple steps, really. You just really need to look at your life, and every now and then take a little break from it, so whatever you can do, come out in nature like this. Nothing better than getting outside, looking at trees, getting the air, although with all the terrible things that are going on with the weather conditions in Australia at the moment, the air quality here is not of a good standard at all. That's a whole other subject, and that's very frustrating, but at the same time it's always going to be good to get out in nature. Okay, nature, there's been scientific studies proven that if you're at a low point in your life, or just at a low point in your day, you're stressed or whatever, that getting outside into nature is going to be extremely beneficial for you, to reset your thoughts and just get into a more positive place. So that's one form of very simple, self-care you can take. The other thing is to do some exercise. That exercise is whatever feels good for you. It doesn't have to be a specific routine, it's exercise with intention. So one of the best things for self-care is mindful movement, so yoga, anything that's got a mind-body connection. Pilates is good as well, or just some simple stretching, or going for a walk, and then if you want more intensive exercise you can do that, but that can get a bit too intensive if you've got already a stressful life, because when you do intensive, high intensity exercise, strength or cardio type exercise, you are raising your cortisol, your stress hormone as well. So for self-care, really, you want to slow it down a bit. Breathing is so important. It's the first thing we do when we're born, it's the last thing we do before we die, and it's very important. So breathing, there's lots of different types of breathing you can do. There's a yoga type breath with pranayama, there's a Wim Hof method that I do, There's so many different types of breathing that you can do, okay? Breath work is quite a big field these days. But there was a Japanese study not too long ago that said all you need to do any time to reset your mind state to a more positive place is to take six very long breaths through your nose, and well not so long, about 4 to 5 seconds through your nose, and long exhales, 8 to 12 seconds out. So you breathe in through your nose all the way down to your diaphragm like you would in yoga, and then breathe out. And 6 of those. So if you're in your life, you're facing some stress, some time that is just too much, everything's getting on top of you, that's a really good thing to do, okay, to reset yourself. The other amazing thing to do is to get a meditation practice in. You know, I've been doing transcendental meditation for about the last 12 years. I'd like to do it twice a day. It's 20 minutes twice a day. I've also done the siddhis and the sutras is the next part on, which makes it about 35 minutes twice a day. I very rarely get it in twice a day, you know, but I do generally get it in once a day. I live a very busy lifestyle myself. I'm always teaching Pilates classes, training clients, doing food coaching and everything else that I'm doing, right? So my life is crazy busy. I've got, you know, a young son, he's 5, family commitments, you know, working around the clock to meet ends meet, same as many people, right? So, you know, I can empathize there with people, you know, but you know, you've still got to make time to fit these things in. And transcendental meditation, when I first started doing it, had a massive impact on my life. But you know, any sort of guided meditation practice would be good to start. You know, you start slowly, make small steps, but self-care is very important. I heard a saying recently, an analogy, which I thought was so profound, and it said, you know, put your own oxygen mask on first before you put an oxygen mask on others. Now, to put that in perspective, the way it spoke about it in this analogy was, if you were sitting on a plane and that plane was about to go down, for instance, right, but you've got your family member or child next to you, right, your paternal instinct as a parent would be, I've got to get my child safe, right? That's going to be your first instinct. I've got to get the mask on my child, right? But you've got to take a couple of seconds, whatever it takes, to get that mask on you, because while you're putting that mask on your child, if something happens that you don't get air for long enough, or something goes wrong, right, you know, you can't, you know, so your child is safe, but where are you? Do you know what I mean? So you've got to look after yourself, you know, so, you know, before you can help others, you know, so, and I'm not talking about being a really selfish person, and I'm talking about, these are just little moments of the day, just to reset yourself, that's all. We're not talking about taking whole days off and ignoring your duties as a parent or your job or whatever else. No, this is to help you do those duties better, to be more productive as a parent, as a, you know, running a business, and as a worker, whatever you need to do. Everyone needs this time. You know, another thing that's good is to do a gratitude journal, something you can do. Take 5 minutes out of your day in the morning when you're on the bus or wherever you're going, and just open up your phone, open up notes in your phone, and just put down 5 things you're grateful for. You know, and share that with your family members at the end of the day as well. That's a good thing to do, you know. Things like this are all ways of self-care, because as you look at what you're grateful for, you start thinking, well, hang on, my life's not so bad, right? I'm doing okay, you know. So all these are little tips towards self-care. Obviously, if you've got more time in your day, you know, you get to a yoga class, or get to a Pilates class, or get to a meditation group, you know, get to self-help groups, you know, where you can talk about issues if you've got things going on in your life, you know. You know, be open with your loved ones, and if you can't be open because of certain things, stresses or whatever, find a way to get there. And a lot of the time, just having time on your own every now and then will give you that, you know, free space in your mind to start thinking about things in a more logical way. Because when we just go all the time, we just don't you know, get to stop and really rationally think about the things we want to do, and why we're doing them, and how we can help others in a better way, you know. You know, when you look at all the great people of the world who have gone out and done huge help and change in the world, and helped large groups of people, they had moments of reflection, times they would have took a step back from what they were doing, times that they just needed to reset themselves so they could then go out and help more people, you know. So this isn't about, you know, just focusing on you for you, right? That would be a very egotistical way to look at it, and that would be the wrong way to do it. This is helping you so you can help the planet, help others, you know, help the world, the universe, whatever, you know. Like, I mean, you know, I follow a whole food plant-based diet, you know, and I'm very much about sustainability, you know, the welfare of the animals, you know, and the health of others by eating a healthier way. But if I don't sustain myself in the correct way, or do the little things I need to do to keep myself going, then how can I go and help all these people, you know? And don't get me wrong, I'm no expert at this either, right? So a lot of people on these YouTube videos will come out and say, you know, they've got this down pat or whatever. I don't think anybody has. Nobody leads a perfect life. So try not to look at others and think, oh yeah, they're doing it perfectly, but you know, I'm doing it wrong or whatever. Don't ever think like that, you know. Small steps, start doing little things, take a little bit out of your day each day, read a chapter of an inspirational book that you know you've had to decide for one time. That's the important thing. When you look at a book you want to read, don't look at the whole book and say, well, I've got to read that whole book, because that will put you off from reading the whole book. Just read a chapter here and there, or a paragraph even, you know, and then increase that as you get more time, and you know, things like that. So don't put things off, just do what you can, but take those times to really reset yourself, and then come back energized, retake life, you know, with a bit more vigor. And if you've got something going on in your life, you know, something really challenging you or that's going on, then talk to someone, you know, talk to anyone really, you know. Like, obviously you don't want to talk to a stranger or someone you don't know, or sometimes you don't want to speak to people you do know actually about things that are personal in your life. But you would know, you should have a good idea of the people close enough to you that you can talk to. And if you don't, then speak to a counsellor, or go to there's lots of free counselling services, or a self-help group or something. Just speak to somebody, because getting things out is very important. There's no point bottling up emotions. So that's one of the very important parts of self-care as well, you know. So, you know, because thoughts, you know, they have a big influence on every aspect of your body, and they can become, you know, thoughts can lead to habits that become, you know, actions that become habits, and before you know it, you're going around with the same story in your head about, you know, how bad your life is, or the things you're coming up against that are holding you back, and you keep telling you this story to yourself, and that holds you back. So you need time to just step away from that thinking mind, reset yourself, start thinking of more positive things. Think about what you're doing, the things you're setting up to set up your life in the future. Don't worry about what you used to be able to do, because it doesn't matter. It's good to be in the present, but being in the present is literally just being right in that present moment, you know, not watching the news and saying, oh yeah, look what's going on at the moment, oh look, you know, this has happened, that's happened. That's not quite in the present, you know. Being in the present is being at one with what you're doing at that particular time, okay? Anyway, I've gone a bit longer than I wanted to in this video, but it's an important topic. And remember, peace, movement, and plants.